Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Dirk with Armitage Tactical, and today we're going to be reviewing our Lone Wolf Distributors Custom Glock 17 Generation 4 MOS slide. So, you may look at this and say this isn't really milled out for a particular site, and you'd be right. This particular slide was purchased by Clint and I so we could test out optics, and we could test out a bunch of optics. And what's the best way to do that? The best way we found to do it was with an MOS type system where you had interchangeable plates, where you could mount lots of different optics. As you can see, they just drop right on there. And you could try out literally RMRs, the Delta Point Pro. You could try out Rytons. You could try out all kinds of different things out there and have the opportunity to do it with one slide. You had that flexibility. Now, is it as nice as having something direct milled there? No. But at the same time, too, that wasn't what we were searching for. We were searching for something that would allow us to use our existing Generation 4 Glock 17 to test things out for you guys, so you could see what's going to work out there, what will be Armitage Tactical Duty approved and what won't. So, a little bit about this slide. We went to Lone Wolf Distributors, and we'd been looking around for an MOS slide. As you guys know, Glock doesn't sell these slides. SIG does. They sell their factory slides, and if Glock sold their factory slides to the general public, I would just go out and buy a Glock slide. I'll be very honest with you. They're really high quality. So Glock, or any representatives from Glock, if you're listening, we'd love to have some of the modularity that SIG has. Americans love to accessorize their guns. They like to make them personalized. And if you guys are out there listening, please, I'd love to buy my slides from Glock, but this particular little slide is completely 100% custom. So what we did is we needed a slide that we could put MOS plates on, that we would feel comfortable dropping on the ground, and that wouldn't, ruin our factory slide. So we went to Lone Wolf Distributors, and the nice thing is you can go to their slide configurator and you can completely custom make a slide. This particular slide you can't make anymore, unfortunately. You can still make a Model 41 Generation 4 slide, but generally the guns that they're making or allowing you to make slides for are the Generation 3 guns, which there's a whole bunch of them out there. So I can totally see why. The Generation 4 guns are only law enforcement specific anymore. You have to be at a law enforcement agency to be able to order them. So I could see why Lone Wolf is not supporting those anymore. And then a lot of the Generation 5 slides you can already get with the MOS, or there's manufacturers that are making things, but this one was made specific to order. So we got on their slide configurator. We went to the model. We were able to pick out a Glock, at the time, a Glock Generation 4 Model 17. And so then we went ahead and went to work. Now, the cool thing about this particular gun is when we get to the slide configurator, we could pick out the slide serrations that we wanted. So we had the opportunity to pick out 1911 style slides. We could have wave slides, or we could have the vertical slide serrations. And we went with the vertical slide serrations. And as you can see, they're really well done. The little nicks and things like that, please don't ding Lone Wolf for that. That's our fault, and that's because you may have seen this slide in another video that we've done where we dropped the slide on the ground to test out the durability of the Ryton optic that we had mounted on it at the time. So additionally, then now you can you can select your front serrations. Again, you can see they're very, very well done, very well machined, very clean. Again, the little scratches and nicks and stuff like that, that's our fault. We could also pick out 1911 style. We could pick out the wave, but we opted to go with the vertical. And this is kind of a cool upgrade because Generation 4 guns, at least most Generation 4 guns, didn't have these front cocking serrations. And I tend to find when I like to press check, I really like to use the front cocking serrations to grab a hold of the pistol, get good control of it, and press check. So we were able also to select the top transition. So in this particular top, we opted for a round transition. So you can see it's rounded here. It's rounded all along the sides. You could pick none. so it would be more rectangular, or you could pick a 45-degree chamfer, which was kind of a cool look, but we were looking for something that would allow us to have more of a factory feel to the gun. So we opted to go with the transition that was rounded, just like the factory slide was. Also, when you select your gun, if you look here, we selected no slide chamfer here, but you can actually, at this point here, get it at a 45 on each side. It's kind of a nice look, but we're trying to go for more of a factory thing. Now we got a chance to check out the slide melt and the rear sight. As you can see, there's lots of different options that you could do, but this particular slide, we went ahead and had it milled out as an MOS. So you notice that there's no recoil bosses on there. There's just the two MOS holes that allow you to direct mount MOS plates. And then you can also mount any MOS compatible plates from reputable businesses like CNH Precision Weapon Systems. So they just drop right in there and they fit in. You put your screws there and then you're good to go. Recommendation though, if you're going to build this particular slide, because this slide had no guts in it, no sights. These are aftermarket sights from Ameriglo that we opted to put on there. But put your slide together first, then mount this. If you try to mount this first and then put in your extractor depressor plunger, it's not going to go through. So put that in first, then mount this. Just a little tip to the wise. Don't ask me how I know that. So this little cut that we got additionally costs us about $100 extra to have it milled like this, but you can have it milled in lots of different configurations. You can have it milled, you can have no rear sight at all. You can have a rear dovetail that will accept the Glock sights right there, or Glock pattern sights. You can have a race mount where it actually has the rear sight mounted in front. That's what they call it, a race mount. Or you could also have a combat mount where it's like this, where you have the sights mounted to the rear, and then you have things set up for the red dot of your choice. Or you can also, actually, believe it or not, they had a Picatinny mount, which was kind of cool. That was a direct interface for a Picatinny rail, and you could do that. Or the last thing that we chose, again, was the Glock MOS cut. And then so we opted to have this drilled for a front sight, so you can see it's all drilled out and we were able to mount a front sight there. And then the front nose option, if you look, it's just kind of a factory OEM type. That's what we ended up doing with this. And the nice thing is the way that Lone Wolf did these is we can mount any aftermarket or Glock sights that we wanted to. And so we opted to go with the Ameriglo 507s. They're nice and tall. You can see if we were to mount up like a Trijicon RMR, let's make sure that doesn't fall off there. Real nice. You can see right through there. It's a little bit too short. If you decided that you wanted to put a Leupold Delta Point Pro, just a little bit too short to do that. So you may want to consider going to Lone Wolf and having a direct mount, because if you put these sights on there, the 507s, looks really good through that particular window. So let me put that back off to the side. So we just decided that we wanted to do it this way. And so we'll talk about the kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly. Most of it's the good. The finish is really, really nice. It's a really sharp look with the silver slide and the black polymer of a Glock. And so it's just a really distinct looking gun. Kind of looks like the old 43Xs that they first came out with, which I thought was a really sharp look with the silver slide and the black polymer. So that looks really, really good. Unfortunately, I'm kind of a stickler when it comes to things. And you see those machining marks in there? I really don't think on a custom slide that cost us almost $330 that we should really have those machining marks. Now, I'm not a machinist, so I don't know what you'd have to do to make that look better, but also you can see the same types of markings. You can see where they had the material had been machined out to make the slide, and you have those circles in there. So I don't see that as pronounced in a factory slide. Now you can see the wear. That has nothing to do, that wear was from, it wasn't like that when I first got it. We actually utilized this thing hard. We used it in a red dot class, testing something out. The slide worked flawlessly. We put standard Glock parts in it. So there's a Glock channel liner in there. There was a Glock striker assembly. The EDP was in there. The extractor and the firing pin safety were all Glock factory parts, and they work flawlessly. And the barrel we put in there, and the recoil spring assembly was all Glock parts, and it worked flawlessly. So just a little bit of an aesthetic thing, but again, you're not going to see that from the exterior. As you can see here, it looks really sharp. There's no real markings to tell you what it is until you look up underneath here, and you can see it's a Glock 17 9mm Alpha Wolf slide. So it doesn't have any exterior markings, which I think looks really, really sharp. One thing though I was a little bit concerned about, probably the best way to show it is this, is I am a Glock armor, and one of the things that we check is the cut here for the slide stop. And so the slide stop lever, as you go on an empty magazine, would rest in here. And I noticed that this cut seems to be a little bit more at a 90-degree angle to the slide than the actual factory cut. We have had zero problems with this gun. It functioned, or with this slide, it functioned flawlessly. Oops, sorry about that, guys. It functioned flawlessly, and so I don't have any issue with it, but we'll keep looking at that and see how the longevity works and see if there any issues arise. And then the nice thing too is if you're training with Clint, or if I happen to be teaching with him on that particular day, you may see this particular slide out there, and you can, I don't know, maybe you can get a chance to shoot it, but it works really well. I think this would be a great slide for an officer who their department allows them to only carry their gun, the one the department issues, but they don't have a problem with you carrying an aftermarket slide. And then maybe you're not 100% sold on, do I want an RMR? Do I want a Delta Point Pro? What do I want? If you have the interchangeable plates, you can just drop those on and you can kind of run whatever suits your fancy. That number 2 plate will run an RMR, or this particular plate will run your Leupold Delta Point Pro. Another thing that I was a little bit concerned about, and you can see it as we zoom in there, there's quite a bit of space between here and here. And on a standard Glock MOS gun, that space is actually filled in. So this material is not milled out. And so I'm going to kind of keep an eye on that on longevity wise, and to let you guys know, hey, this is good to go or it's not. But there's not a lot of material up here right where the rear end of the extractor lives, right as it interfaces with the EDP as it comes out of the back of the slide there. So I'm hoping that that's not going to be an issue, because that is not a whole lot of material there. So far, guys, this little slide has worked flawlessly. So we're going to keep testing it. Hopefully, if you come out to a class, maybe you can see this thing in action. Maybe you can get a chance to shoot it. But thus far, really impressed with it. The only thing, though, is that, you know, with a Blue Label gun, you can get yourself a Glock Blue Label gun with the MOS system on it for about $490, depending on where you go at the Blue Label price. This particular slide with no guts in it was about $330, $325, $330. So you just have to look at the opportunity costs and look at the price difference and see if this is something you're interested in. It may have to be, right? Because you may have to shoot your department's gun. The other thing that's unfortunate is that if your department shoots a Glock 22, Lone Wolf does not make a 40 caliber. I inquired about that as a potential to purchase these for my department so we could use our Glock 22s and just put red dots on them to do that. But unfortunately, they do not make those at this particular time. So, guys, so far, the Lone Wolf, Alpha Wolf 9mm slide. This is an Armitage Tactical duty approved slide. I think it works great, and we'll keep testing it. And we hope to see you guys out there. Hope come out and train with us, please. The tactical firearms classes are really great. Our armor classes are really great too, and maybe you can see this little slide in action. So until then, stay safe out there and make it home safe every day, guys. We'll talk to you later. Bye.